Hey guys, thanks for listening to Kinda Dating, the comedy dating podcast where influential guests and I break down the dating world and try to figure out why the do we all have commitment issues. Today's topic is getting your mojo back after divorce. Let's do this. Hey Kinda Daters, I'm Natasha Chandel. You're listening to Kinda Dating. Aisha's here.
I'm here.
Girl, you got caught in a snowstorm.
I did.
A blizzard.
Oh my God, I was in a blizzard.
Okay, wait, tell us that story.
So, a couple of weeks back, there was this crazy blizzard in Southern California, and me and my partner were going up to Yosemite, not aware that the blizzard was a real thing, and we learned the hard way. Yeah.
Yikes.
I was slipping and sliding.
But you got lucky that she's a Girl Scout.
Yeah,
because I was like, why did you get lucky to have snow chains or what is it? What is that? What it is?
Chain thingies. I don't know.
You and I would die.
I was like, I'm a city girl. I don't know what this is. This is too much. It was like real cute at first, but then it started getting real thick. And it's not fun anymore.
And you're an Angelino. You are not used to snow. I'm at least
all.
As a Canadian, like I'm used to getting trapped in a snowstorm. It's like whatever.
Not.
So I'm glad you're alive.
Thank you. Me too.
And you survived the blizzard.
Yes. 23.
I had a busy week. I got a new car.
You did.
And then I had buyer's remorse of just like, why did I spend money? What were you doing? But I needed it. My car is like, my old car's on the outs. And so I needed a new car. Yeah. And I got it. And then I was like, what the fuck did you do?
Right.
But I'm a grown up. I can handle this. I can handle it. It's okay. It's great to see you again, Aisha. I know it's been a little bit. So guys, we have a really great episode for you because y'all reach out to me on Instagram and you send me episode requests. And I want you to know that we're actually listening to you. It's hard to get too specific sometimes because sometimes y'all get like mad specific about the kind of exact scenario you want us to discuss. But this topic has been requested so many times, we felt we had to do it. And we were just waiting for the right guest to make it happen. And we have it. So if you like today's episode, remember to screenshot it, tag us, and tell us what you thought of it. And remember, guys, word of mouth, that's how we get around, you know. We want to get around the block this time. So tell your friends and subscribe to the podcast wherever you get it. And also leave us a 5-star rating or review wherever you get the podcast. Also, we're on social media. We're at Kinda Dating across the board.
I am at Aisha Says Dance across the board.
And I'm at Natasha Chandel on Instagram and Facebook, Natasha.Chandel on TikTok. So guys, if dating isn't hard enough the first time, imagine doing the whole dance, finding your person, getting hitched, getting married for years, and then realizing, shit, this is not working. So you get a divorce, and now, your life, you're back in the dating pool. But it is wildly different from the last time you were in it. You're talking to strangers on an app. Your single friends are telling you not to text back for 3 hours. And every other person is into ethical non-monogamy. What the fuck is happening? Well, we got you. We're going to get into your feelings, and helping us to do that is a really cool new friend of mine. You got to know him. He's social famous. He's Twitter famous for damn sure. Yeah, you are. You're a TV writer extraordinaire, comedian, executive producer of just a little show called Modern Family.
I forgot.
And you also have this like really cool reputation as like a Trump thrasher.
Yes, I am the Trump slayer.
Yeah, on Twitter.
I didn't do it well enough, though.
Yes.
he lived.
He did. But we got him off eventually on that one.
We did.
But guys, welcome Danny Zuker.
Yes. Hi. Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh. I'm
Thanks
so
for
happy.
reaching out on Twitter that time. And it was very nice. I mean, I've met a lot of good people through Twitter. I was just at a party last night with people I met through Twitter.
Oh, really?
Years ago, yeah.
So guys, little context. Won't get into super detail, but I totally slid into Danny's DMs on Twitter.
She did.
And about a work thing. And then we got to meeting, and you were so kind and open to even chatting with me as a complete stranger.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. And then I was like, oh my gosh, we actually like really get along, and we had so much fun, and you're so fucking awesome. So I was like, thanks, Elon? No. him.
Yeah,
Let's
prior to you.
This was prior to
Who's
you,
the guy?
yeah.
Jack.
Jack.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Jack.
Dorsey.
We're
We
like-
even him too.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. It's
Oh,
true.
really?
So yeah, that was like amazing.
It was amazing. Yeah, no, I mean, it was absolutely great. You were an absolute delight, and your letter was really funny. And yeah, and I actually thought I followed you because people I knew followed you, so you would occasionally come up on my timeline. So you weren't a complete stranger, and I did a background check.
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
And you passed.
Smart.
And I love that, like, because you and I also bonded because we're both like very into current affairs and politics and stuff. So it's very funny because on Twitter, I know like screenwriting Twitter is very about like talking about writing.
Yes.
And I never do. I'm always talking about like politics. I'm like, motherfucking whatever. And I'm just making jokes about that stuff.
It's true. Like when Twitter was great, in the golden age, like it was a great way to meet people who I wouldn't have met otherwise, but were already sort of pre-approved, funny or decent people. Like you can tell a lot of and I made a lot of good friends from that. So
yeah. Well, it's an honor to have you here.
included.
Yay! It's an honor to have you here. So our first question.
Yes, we ask everybody this. Danny, are you single or in a relationship?
I'm so single. I'm so single. I was in a relationship for a while after the divorce, which is only like 3 years old, but got into a relationship, serial monogamy, and well, so I'll leave it at that. And mistakes were made, but with it, and then that went south, and started to just dipping my toe in the pool. Sure. It's a lot of work. You describe that as like coming out. Like I got married. I was married for we were married for 26 years. I got married when I was 29. I'm 59 now. And it was a little bit like going into the dating world now. It's a little like Back to the Future too.
Sure.
When like I've been there, and then suddenly and people are all on hoverboards, and and there's a lot of initials, and I don't listed, and so yeah,
and like what's acceptable has changed too, right?
Yeah, completely. I mean, yes, that is true. Although I do think people say it was different in the old days, but even in the old days, you weren't supposed to be awful to women. Like we knew who those people were. Yeah. It's like, it's like, well, you have to understand this was 2004. We didn't know you couldn't just grab women. It's like we knew.
Right. You kind of knew.
You kind of knew that wasn't okay.
But do you think like now that you are more exposed to sort of the current dating environment, do you empathize or get why a lot of women are saying that like, does it seem like men have more commitment issues now than before? At least like in your kind of experience with it?
This is all I will say. I think men must be horrible on these apps because what I have found, and I talked to a friend of mine around my age who's also in my situation, and I was saying like, by me doing the bare minimum in the women I've dated, I am suddenly Prince Charming. It's like I'm not doing that much.
Right.
Like I'm making the reservation, I'm paying the check, I'm making sure you get home, I'll call you to make, I'm doing like the basic things you would do. And to them, it's like, so what inevitably happens is even if I'm on a bad date, something I know is not going to work out, I'm a nice enough guy and I do take care of those things. Right. But in their mind, it's like I'm the one because they've been through 10 people who I don't know must have taken a dump during a dinner.
Oh my God.
So so it's I thank God the bar is so low because because I wouldn't do well in like a real I'd be terrible.
But because a lot of people think that women are not interested in nice guys and all of that, and I'm just like, it's not true. I think when somebody does treat you nicely, it is just like, whoa, he's nice. He messaged me back at a reasonable time. Like it's very basic shit that people are looking for now.
I've never heard an actual nice guy say, "Oh, women don't want nice guys," because they're not nice guys. That's not a nice guy thing to say.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's like a smart person telling you, "I'm really smart." Like, I've never heard it.
Yep.
Yeah. So do you mind? Because obviously this is an episode about getting back in the field after divorce. So like you were married for 26 years. That is a long time.
It was a long time. And I will say, I know we may talk about this later, but like it was the right time for it to happen. And maybe it didn't go down great. But she and I are really closer than ever as a result. But yeah, it was hard. It was hard. And basically became single right around, like, I became single, but wasn't going to date because at a certain point I was feeling like maybe I should try and get the marriage back. And that didn't happen. And I think wisely, I was like, I wanted to make everything right.
Yeah.
She's like, we're going to do this again. And I was like, okay. And then we became friends. So when I was ready to date and get on the apps, the pandemic was about to hit.
Right.
And all that.
Yeah.
So I got into it at a weird time and wound up actually having a relationship with somebody I didn't meet on the apps. Somebody
IRL.
I just knew from comedy and all of that, who I'd known prior to that. So so far I haven't had like a real relationship off the apps, I would say.
Yeah. But like because I think a lot of people, when they go through something like divorce, whether it's after a year of marriage or after 26 years, there's a lot of feelings
For sure.
that are attached to that. How did you feel after the divorce? Was just fear at the time, or was it like a sense of failure? Or
I felt like a salesman who didn't like the product he was selling or believe in the product he was selling. So I had to do a lot of work, truly.
Yeah.
I was not like, I think like, this is not like being humble or things, but I didn't think I had a lot to offer anybody because I was lost and sad, and I didn't know what I wasn't feeling good about myself. But I obviously didn't stop me from trying, but it was a failed thing. It's like, I'm selling you a car I know is a lemon. And I felt like a lemon. And so now I don't feel like a lemon. So I'm dipping myself back in there. Now I feel like, it's been used. It's had some miles on it. You might need to change the transmission. But other than that, it's like good as new.
And I think that's a very healthy thing, though. I mean, a lot of therapists often say that you should not get back in the dating pool. They say divorce, but I honestly think it's after any breakup.
It is. It doesn't matter about divorce.
Until you have healed a little bit, because...
Completely.
And of course, there's no like pure healing. It's a process, but getting back to a place where you're less triggered.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that, you are, like you said, feeling a little better about yourself and can put your best foot forward.
It was. And I mean, I was like, I have 3 kids, a house, a bunch of less dogs now, less animals now in general. It's been the killing fields over there. But it was like there were a lot of people in my house. I was like at a show where a lot of people, and I will say what's happened of late. I don't think it's permanent, but I really value my alone time. I try and think of somebody that I like. I'm trying to imagine someone, there's somebody I was dating, went on a couple dates with recently, and we're going to go on a 3rd date, and she canceled. And I was like, oh, good. And it's like, I want to feel not that.
Yes.
But I want to meet the woman who, when they cancel, I feel bad.
Right.
And I can, but it just hasn't happened. So I still think I'm taking steps. Because I like doing things alone. I like traveling alone. I like going to movies alone occasionally. Because it wasn't a big part of my life. So it's like,
it's a very healthy thing.
It is.
And I'm so interesting.
You actually are a very interesting person. You're a very fun person. My boyfriend's gone this weekend for a gig out of town, and I was alone, and I was like, this is amazing.
Right.
I was like, and I actually I like silence also, which is weird for people because they like to be alone and have music playing and stuff. I'm like, I just like silence. So I just like cleaning in silence. I like doing my work in silence.
Yeah.
I just like peace and quiet.
No, I'm with you. There's something really, really special about like just to have the quiet. And it's great to have people and not be lonely. But
Yeah. So what for you was sort of the hardest part about getting back in the dating world? Was it specifically sort of, and whatever you're comfortable sharing, the physical aspect, like the fears of that because it's a new person, or was it just like logistical shit of like, how do I use an app?
Well, it was neither of those things.
Okay.
So the apps, like I'm like always been very tech savvy and understood all of that stuff. And obviously physically, I mean, I have so much to offer. For those listening, you can't see me. And for those who are watching, I'm lying.
Danny's a 10. What are you talking about? Get out of here.
I'm an astigmatism 10.
Stop.
Astigmatism 10.
Stop.
But no, but like, when it's working, it's working. I'm pretty comfortable. And I mean, I feel like no one's going out for me. Like I'm I know what is expected. But it is what I've had trouble with is expectations. And the weird thing I've determined in this period of time is I am much more comfortable being rejected after a couple dates than rejecting. So what I've had is like, if I have a couple good dates with somebody, but I know it's not going to go anywhere, and I've had trouble, and it's been to my fault. It's been my work to do, like not going on the fourth or fifth date.
Yeah, I get that.
Because I don't want to hurt anybody, but it's like, it makes it worse. And so it's like those expectations, like if I take the flyer on somebody, is this eventually going to be like sadness or that?
Well, so you're doing the slow fade.
I am. And I'm thinking I'm giving good signals.
Yeah.
Oh, no, people don't read signals.
I'm like, it's, a lot of like, anyway, and like, that kind of stuff.
This has been great.
Yeah, like my face.
It's super late, but it's like 8 o'clock. Oh.
No, I know. I didn't
Gotta
sleep
go
last
home.
night. I got to be up at 4 a.m. to do this thing with Europe.
Right.
Yeah. So,
People always hold out hope until you just say the words.
I know, and I've learned that, and it's been, and now that I've done that, and it's like it makes me sound like I'm like I know who I am, and it's not like I'm like the Mr. Perfect or anything like that, because I'm so not. I in fact, when they like me, I am convinced that there's something, that they have something wrong with them. But yeah, it's hard. I find that part hard. I mean, not in any candor. Like I don't want to talk about this on the podcast, but a lot of what led to the end of my marriage was my inability to sort of be clear with somebody, and
it's a hard thing because sometimes we don't want to hurt somebody else, and we don't like that feeling that it gives us when somebody else is feeling bad, and you are the cause of it, or you think you are the cause of it.
It's so true, and I also think like, not being like an attractive woman, really, like I think as a component of being a woman, that's a skill you have to learn absolutely, because that's like people are going to express interest in you. Men are going to express interest in you so much more overtly and often than women are, to me anyway. And so you have to cope with that. And I feel that. I mean, I definitely, I can see that.
Yeah, and it's interesting that is your that feels like the hardest part too. Because at least I don't know, Aisha, what do you think? As women, I think a lot of women I've spoken to, like they have a harder time because, I think women get more emotionally attached, like sex-wise, to a partner that they've loved for so long, and then getting back out and feeling connected to a new person just feels like, like what if I.
You're exactly right.
That like being intimate again is scary to people. And then I think for a lot of people, the messages we get also is just like, they don't understand this app world.
Yeah.
Like there was a time, and I can't believe this, but like Match.com, shout out Match. If you do want to sponsor an episode though, we would love to have you. But Match.com, man, they had like essays.
No, I remember a friend of mine who was on that years ago, and it was, there was that whole thing. Now it's this, and women are also defensive on their profiles. It's like, if you want to hook up, swipe, and, if you're looking for that, no, I'm not going to this. Be a man, have your shit together. It's like, Jesus Christ, I'm already getting yelled at on the app. But I know where that comes from.
Yeah.
And that's all people's like triggers speaking, right? Everything that we say when we are reactive is because we're in a state of pain and we just haven't processed it. Versus, and like when I was dating and I got back on the apps, I did put like after a couple dates and people started being like, I want an open relationship. I was like, oh, okay. I think I have to specify that this is not my thing. But I think I did it very politely. I like made some I said like some jokes, and then at the end I was like, not into sharing, like something like that. Like and that was it. So, but you have to just be at a place where like, it didn't upset me if I went out with somebody and I never felt like it wasted my time. I was just like, all right, well, this is part of the process, and trial and error. And you go out and somebody drops some news on you that isn't vibing with your life. You're just like,
No,
Oh, well.
it's
Okay, moving on.
It's definitely happened to me. And there's that tricky thing where like you'll be meeting somebody and you're going on a couple of dates from the apps, and then it's sex time and all that, and you're just like, and what I found from like, and I really have mostly met great women on it, but like what I did find is like it's like when it's sex time, and sometimes it happens early,
Right.
but it's like, oh yeah, I just fuck it, it's fun, let's do it, and I think okay, cool, we'll just have fun sex,
Right.
But it's also like the next day, it's like the parameters of what that meant. I thought it wasn't leapfrogging the relationship yet. I was like, okay, we're gonna just cut the line and test it,
Right.
But it turned out that meant a lot more with the oxytocin and whatever all that stuff is, and I get that. I felt that way with I've been the chick at one point. Like when I got back together. So I broke up with my wife. I had an infidelity, and we were trying to get back together. And my wife and I hadn't been physical in a long time. And weirdly, like she wanted to hear about it. And weirdly, at one point, we're out, and she just attacked me, and we had and for like a month, my ex and I were having sex in my apartment, and then it stopped, and we're in couples counseling, and she was like, I was like. Yeah, I don't want to do that anymore. I want us to have a year off. And I go, what was all that about? And she's like, that was so not a component of my life.
Right.
I wanted to see if it was alive. And I said, so you just used me for my body?
Oh, wow.
But it was, so I got it in that way.
Yeah.
And I think it comes down to because you cared about her.
I care about her. Deeply.
And that's what it is.
Yeah.
I do think though it is an irrational response when a person cares about somebody else after like a couple dates and then they get attached after sex. I'm like, that says more about the person getting attached because you don't know this human yet.
And also, I should point out, I'm terrible at sex.
Please
so
stop.
both of those. So what are? Yeah, it's just like, Yeah, it's Yeah, I'm not going to launch into material. I almost called me. I said, she's a comedian. She'll know when I'm launching into material. I'm not going to do it.
I would let you do it if you wanted to.
No, I'm not. This is intimate.
So now that you're like out there though, like, are you finding it easier or is it a preference to date other people who are also divorced?
I do prefer to meet somebody who has already been married or even has like kids already, because I'm not, I'm like I said, I'm not interested in having children, and I don't want to meet somebody who is just at the cusp and wants to, and so I like that. I just like somebody who knows what that's like. Yeah. I also kind of like when people are still like, unless it was an abusive relationship,
right?
Like, don't have horrible things to say about if the guy was horrible, yeah, say it, but. I've been on many dates where it was like, this one, she was so beautiful. Like, honestly, it was like, I was so excited, kind of funny and sarcastic. And we went out, and the whole thing, she was just like, we're talking, and she was just like, one person after the other had fucked her over.
Yeah.
And it was like 10 people. And I kept thinking, wow, it might be you. And I said, I'm going to be on this list. Like, I just had that sense.
Totally.
But then you got to make sure you're not that guy.
Yeah, no, but there's no way to avoid being that guy.
What do you mean? Don't do shitty things.
I wasn't, but I don't know that all those guys did shitty things. I don't know. I mean, some of them sounded vaguely like, I get that.
Yeah.
It's a pattern after a while.
Yeah. I dated, she knows the story a little bit, but I was dating this guy that we call on the podcast Bruce Lee, just because he was some like 4-time, taekwondo, whatever. I don't know what those things are. Martial arts guy.
Fights.
And our first date, he was like, I'm divorced with rage issues. And I was so dumb and young. I was like, oh, he's being honest with me.
Yeah, not a confession. Like, I might hit you.
Exactly. And oh my gosh, it was I never saw the rage part, but the divorce part, it was very interesting because he was still very triggered by it. And he could not be in a relationship because he had so much fear around fucking up again. And he didn't I was like, did you do something to her? And it was like, no, but he just fell out of love. And he was just so scared of falling out of love that he was just our relationship up over and over. And I was just like, dude, I'm not even trying to marry you. I was like, can we just enjoy some time? But just so many triggers that eventually, it would turn out to be a very toxic thing.
Well, people are on, like, I always say, like, if you're having, like, the best version of the person you're dating is that in those, like, you are seeing the
That's so
person.
true.
And so that is the best. That's all, they're trying to hide everything terrible. So if the terrible stuff is coming out, it's really there. Like, if you can't hide that you're a racist in my first date, God knows what you have. Like, is there Nazi paraphernalia in your room?
Right.
So it dropped. Yeah, it's like, I don't know. It's like, are you crazy?
But you will be surprised. I have said this on the podcast many times. I truly believe you know the exact problem in your relationship on date one or within the first week. And usually because people are always dropping clues about themselves.
Yes.
Because they want to warn you, but they're not trying to like explicitly warn you. Like this guy didn't say, hey, I'm divorced with rage issues. Like, warning. He was just like in conversation, like, ha ha ha, yeah, I've been
This is
divorced
who I
before.
am.
And then and yeah, I have rage issues. And you're like, but you know, when you're in it, you're not listening. You're just, you're construing it in whatever way you want. But it's really somebody giving you a clue. When I used to not be available, I always told people, I'm really busy. I'm a really busy person.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's good.
That's a way of me. I didn't know that was me subconsciously telling them I can't hang out all the time.
Right.
If you're trying to like,
for sure. But I think if you said like, if you told that to, I would hear that. It's so weird how people don't hear those little hints.
But that's the thing is most of us don't hear the hints.
Yeah.
We just are using it as justification for people's behavior. But the truth is, if I were really into somebody,
right,
I would probably make time.
Mm-hmm.
I've said this. I had this conversation with my ex with somebody. It's like, if he's like, you know when someone's into you. It's like, that's like not. If like I want to see somebody, I'm gonna be like texting them. I'm gonna be
literally that
in their bushes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna be, I'm hired a detective. I'm doing all of them.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
You're like, I'm tracking her.
Yes, exactly.
I put the location on her
Yeah,
iPhone. I've hacked into it.
Especially in the beginning, it should not be hard.
It's just comfortable and easy and fun.
Mm-hmm.
In your opinion, like, do you think that there's a time frame that people should wait to date after divorce?
It depends. No, I don't think there's one time frame. I think it's like when you feel good about yourself, when you look at yourself and you're feeling like, I'm ready to take this next step. I think if you still are enraged at your ex or still, in love with them and hurt by them, that's a good sign that it's going to be hard for you to fully commit to somebody else. That's how I feel. I mean, at least that worked out for me. That was how it was for me.
It's hard for people to be honest about that.
Yeah, it's hard with themselves. And therapy. I'm like, I could not. I mean, this is like, I know New York Jew promoting therapy, revolutionary. But
it's true.
But yeah, it really is.
Oh, we're massive proponents of therapy in here.
Yes, absolutely. Can't imagine what this would be like if you weren't.
Oh, you didn't want to meet old me.
Oh,
old me.
I would have been high.
Yeah, I know. Aisha's like the early shows. Yes, I have evolved a lot through this podcast. If you listen to old episodes,
it's true.
There were a lot of.
I need to go back into the archives.
Yeah. There are a lot of stories and reactions.
I want to meet you when you didn't settle down.
Yeah. No, you don't. No, you don't. But you said something very important. You said that, people have to do some introspection and ask themselves if they're ready. Was it also an important part for you to ask yourself why you're dating again?
Yeah, I mean, it was. I mean, I think so. It was like I didn't want to be. It were all the reasons. I mean, it's like you didn't want to be alone, and it was like, and especially like around pandemic time.
Yeah,
it was. And this woman that I wound up with, and on and off again, like it was nice. Somebody to come over,
share that time with,
and and she was pretty.
Have you found in your that always helps? It helps. Help. It's a thing. Yeah. I don't like when people are like, attraction doesn't matter. I'm like, fuck you. It's like the number one thing that matters.
Of course,
the number one thing.
It's how you start.
No, I know. I don't see it, it's like, no, I just want somebody with a brain. Like I'm a comic and I know like nerdy, brilliant people. And it's like, they're not crushing it.
Exactly. So what do you think is the line of when to tell somebody you've been divorced? And what about the kids part? Like, do you
Right
disclose it
away.
right away? Both things?
Well, I mean, I'll talk about it. Like, I want to know. Sometimes I can lead that question. It's like, so, especially when we're in person and stuff like that, I'll ask, how long have you been on this app? What is it going on? Yeah, I'll always just ask any kids. And I'll offer. I have 3 adult kids, whatever. I'll do that. It's weird to hide that stuff. It's especially like if you're a parent.
Yeah, no, you should not.
If you're not talking about it, then I think, oh, you're a shitty parent because I talk about it,
Yeah.
So, and if it's going to turn somebody off, then you don't want to be with that person.
Exactly.
It's a great litmus test.
I used to get really offended when guys would ask me if I had kids. I'm like, what the fuck are you saying? I'm older. And then I was like, oh, wait a minute. Like Kylie Jenner's 21 and has like 2 kids. I was like, all right. This is America. I was like, everybody here has kids. I was like, okay, but.
Do you have grandkids though?
I'm gonna take this,
I never saw her.
I'm gonna take this.
I actually got afraid. I just saw like her. Yeah, I guess saw her get evil.
Again,
Zoom in
though,
on that.
this is America. People have kids very young. They have grandkids
absolutely
very young.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing.
It is absolutely.
What do you think you learned from your divorce that you carry into new relationships?
Honesty. And trying to like be clear with what I'm feeling and not my instinct. I'm the oldest. I have 2 younger kids, sisters, and my parents were like, a thing. And so I was always a peacemaker and I liked calm and I like making people, I'm partly funny because I can distract you and make you, oh, look over here and everything's calm.
Yep.
And then I can be calm. So as a people pleaser, I extracted that to dates and I wasn't always honest about how I felt. And then when they sort of liked and come to expect, anybody comes to expect that from me, like, oh, where it's constant crying on my shoulders, I resent them. I resent them for the invitation I've given them to do it. So I guess I'm trying to, I'm just trying to be like more upfront. This is not where I'm at right now. And, and I'm not feeling it. And I don't always succeed with that, but at least I'm doing it better.
I empathize with that a lot because, like I grew up in a home that was very dysfunctional. There was a lot of fighting all the time. So because of that, I was always preferred to be peacemaker and then, didn't like conflict, didn't express myself because I just didn't want to ruffle any feathers, really. And as a result, though, for me, as maybe it was just, a female thing, but I got taken advantage of a lot because I was much more like, just easygoing and like, hey, I don't want, want to create any problems kind of thing. And so I never really told people how I felt. And then thank God for therapy. They taught me a lot about like boundaries and expressing myself. And so now, and then I went the other way. So, in the beginning, when you don't know how to express yourself, you're like angry about how you express. I'm like, don't fucking ever do that to me. And then I learned like, oh wait, I don't have to go there. I can now just say, in a calm way, like, oh, that actually I make it a joke, but I tell every guy. I now usually tell everybody, I'm like, I don't want to be your therapist. I'm not here to be your wife, not here to be your counselor, not here to be your best friend. I'm always like, I just want to be your girlfriend. So, and you can say that in like a calm, nice way. And
I tried this with somebody and it did not go over well, but it was better than continuing on. But it was like, there was a lot of things that were, this woman needed like help with this thing. And I was happy to help her there. And then this, and then, oh God, this. And it was like several, and we were only going out. We only went on like 6 or 7 dates. And finally I just said, wow, I already have children. and just, they're moving out and I'm just like, I don't want to replace them. That's fine. I was like, thank God they're out of the house. But that did not. Even with the gleam in my eye, I was like, I said, but she got the message. So.
Sometimes people do need to hear that they are acting like children.
It was weird after, you think this is weird, like after 4 dates. And somebody saying, they had an issue that, it sounded crazy, but it's like, Yeah, I need like $15,000. Like after 4 dates, that she wasn't asking me for, but she kept bringing up the number like I was supposed to respond to that.
I think that was her trying to get it.
And it was like, and it was like, oh, well, yeah. It was like,
definitely.
Yeah.
My last name is Zuker, which means sugar. So I think some people think that.
That's
that could
so funny.
mean inadvertent.
Right.
Zucker.
I'm
Wait,
correct.
Zuker or
Zuker, but because
okay.
there's no. I mean, I pronounce it Zuker, so no one puts the C in there. Someone left the C off, so half my family is Zuker, half was Zuker, but none of us have the C. But once I started having it printed, the name, I was doing stand-up, it's Zuker, Z-U-K, and they still get it wrong.
Yeah.
So put a C in there.
Right.
Fascinating story. You can look it up.
Well, Zuker daddy.
I was a total Zuker daddy. Like, I'm a generous boyfriend, but I'm a terrible sugar daddy.
Well, you shouldn't be anybody's
but
sugar
I'm
daddy.
like, oh, no, you're not going to pay for a thing when we're together. Right. But but it's unlikely I'm going to, make your car payments.
Right. Yeah, I don't think you should.
That be known.
Yeah.
Because that's a whole nother.
I mean, unless you're super hot.
They do get away with a lot.
It's true.
Hot people.
It is.
They get a lot.
I know.
So what are some ways for our candidators who are out there who are coming back in the game after divorce and feeling like their mojo's off and whatever? Like how can they reframe the dating world?
This is how you do it. The people I know who are the happiest at this are not on the dating apps to meet the one. They make your goal. I'm going to have a great date. My goal is I'm going to meet somebody. We've already texted or talked. She seems great. He seems great. Let's have fun dinner. Let's have a fun walk. Let's do this thing. And that's the goal for today.
Yeah.
And you set that goal. And then if there's a second date, well, I want to get to know him a little bit more. That's the next date, or her a little bit more. That's the next date. Third date, it's blowjobs. No, whatever your third date goal is, it should be that.
Yeah.
And I'm just kidding. That should be second date.
Obviously.
But yeah, I think it is. I think it's that. I had this talk with my ex. My ex got into a very long relationship shortly after we were together. Not a great relationship, by the way. And I was like, what? It shouldn't be this life or death right now.
Right.
And everything isn't life or death in one. If you can go into a date where it's just going to be fun.
Yeah.
And it's going to meet somebody. If it doesn't work out, it's like, that's the mindset. It also makes you more attractive.
And that's the mindset for all daters. Like that should be because it's the thing I tell my friends. Like that was a switch I had to make was I just made it like, hey, I just want to have fun.
Yeah.
And not looking for the one, just going, I want to have fun. Did I have fun this time?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let's see if I can build on that fun the second time, but not like putting expectations on it or this person is to be your everything in the first date or second date. It's a lot
of pressure.
And some people, you may not meet somebody on an app. It just might not happen. And I find that things happen when you're not looking for them. And it's like, my feeling is I'm going to be on the apps on date. I think I'm going to meet somebody at a party. I think I'm going to meet somebody, although not last night. But it'll happen. So that's it.
This is LA. There's lots of parties.
Oh my God, there's tons.
There are. It's true.
I also think, people have a lot of anxiety coming back into the game after divorce, but I think there's a superpower there. You have had the experience of being in a lengthy relationship and you know more now.
Completely.
And I always remember like G.I. Joe, where it's like, knowing is half the battle.
Oh, that's right.
And there's real value to that. So I think, to our listeners and friends who are going through that, just don't be so scared because you know more.
Than
probably a lot of single people do about relationships.
Without a doubt. Yeah, no, and you've done it. I mean, that's the only good thing about getting older is like you've seen more stuff and things don't faze you as much. And if you've been listening as you got older, there's a lot of terrible old people. But
there are a lot of terrible old people.
Yes.
But also, I think giving yourself kudos for the fact that you tried. Like so many people don't even take that step of marriage, and so you did something and you put yourself out there, and that's life. Like life is about living and having experiences, and they don't always go the way we want, but you lived.
Yeah,
I did. I lived. What didn't kill me made me older.
Wiser.
It's true. It's true. Well, Danny, this is so fun.
I really enjoyed this. Let's all hang out without the mic.
Yeah.
Let's do it
Yeah, let's do it.
anytime.
Yeah.
But you're not totally done.
Oh, I'm not. We got more.
We're gonna dig a little deeper right now.
Oh, cool.
We do a segment called 6 Questions.
Oh, I think.
Right? We ask every guest the exact same 6 questions.
Okay.
It's like a rapid fire.
Okay.
You don't have to think about it too
Okay.
much.
I won't.
So, Danny Zuker,
Yes.
Danny Zuker Daddy,
Danny Zuker Daddy.
are you ready for your 6 questions?
I am Natasha.
What is the first thing you notice about a potential partner?
It's all about eyes and face and smile. Or boobs. I mean, but sometimes you can't see the boobs, so it's not like. But
Right.
no, you do notice the way somebody smiles, and if their eyes are smart, if they have smart eyes, you can tell somebody has smart.
You can
eyes.
tell?
Yes,
That's a good one.
Yeah, some people have dead, unthinking
Yeah,
eyes.
yeah.
That's true.
Have you heard the podcast Dead Eyes?
No.
Oh my gosh, you guys should both listen to it. It's so funny.
Who is it?
Connor Radcliffe.
I've heard somebody else talk about this.
It's about a guy. Guys, you guys should also listen to this. It's very funny. It's about a guy who got fired from a co-star role or something in a Tom Hanks movie, and
I have heard about
he
this.
creates a whole podcast about. And he got told, and he was ready, got the job, he went everything,
Yeah.
and they said Tom Hanks said he had dead eyes.
Oh, wow.
And so then he goes
I have
through
heard
like 3 seasons of this podcast trying to understand and get to Tom Hanks to figure out,
That's so
did he really
funny.
have dead eyes? Why was he really fired
That's
from
amazing.
this movie?
I forgot to listen to that because I know that's great. I know he gets to him at the end.
Yeah.
Oh, he does?
Yeah.
Yes,
Spoiler.
he does. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
But
why
we
would
still
you listen
don't know.
to 3 seasons?
It's okay. I know,
Yeah.
obviously. Yeah.
Awesome.
What is one deal breaker?
Wow. On a first day, I'm rude to waiters right off the bat. Like that would be like, that's like a quick one.
Yeah.
Comes up every time.
It's a
Yeah.
it's real.
That's an odd.
So many guests say that.
It's
Yeah.
it's an odd move. Also, I mean, there are politics things that will come up. I was
Sure.
out on a date. It was right before the 2020 election, and I was doing volunteering at something, and she seemed great. I thought I had no idea. And she said, "Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, they're both terrible." And I was like,
Oh, yeah.
"Yeah." And my comment was, well, what I was thinking in my head was like, "Oh, God, that's a lazy thing to say."
Yeah.
But what I actually said was, "God, that's a lazy thing to say," because I couldn't keep it inside.
Yeah.
And it's not date was over.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't be with Trump.
No, that's never Trumpers. What turns you on?
Somebody who can make me laugh, a sense of humor, like where if I make a joke, I mean, there are obviously physical things, but if I make a joke, and they not only laugh but then top it,
The best.
A volley.
I've had emotional affairs with many
Oh.
female comedy writers who are just like nothing ever on tour, but just like, holy shit, I love you. That was so beautiful. That the way you top that, yeah,
So fun. So fun.
so hot.
What are one of your strengths and one of your weaknesses in relationships?
My strengths are that I'm not a jealous person.
Mm.
Like I don't really feel a lot of jealousy. I'm happy to give you your strength. My weakness is I don't sit well. There's a part of me that always wants to escape. I need time alone, and that is sometimes considered a flaw in a
Right.
relationship. But I can be like, people are aware when it's like I'm ready to leave. Like you thought I'm not done yet. I thought I was ready to go. Like you read my body like, oh, you're not ready to go. You have 6 questions. I can give that vibe if I think I'm ready to go.
Yeah,
Not that I'm ready to go now, but like when I'm heading out
Right.
the door. Yeah.
totally.
Yeah.
Danny, what is love?
Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me no more.
No more.
I mean, God, that's so crazy. What such an easy question too. I mean, I don't. Love is that thing where it's like, for me, it's like I mean, beginning love is a person who is the last thing you think about when you go to sleep, the first thing you think about when you wake up.
Mhm.
Somebody who gives you something to look forward to.
Mm.
And then real love though, is like it's such a cliche, but real love is we're together, we respect each other, and when you're not at your best or I'm not at my best, our whole relationship isn't on the line.
Right.
Mhm.
Like a fight between us will I have the confidence to know that we'll survive that and grow from it. That's
Unconditional.
yeah. I mean, it has to be conditional.
True. I guess
But
makes sense.
love with reasonable conditions.
Like that. Besides I love you, what 3 words would you want your partner to tell you?
Is it in? No, I don't want. Oh, what I want them to say.
What you want them to say?
Wow, so big. No, no. 3 words besides I love you would I like you.
Okay.
That would be it.
Yeah.
I love that. That's great.
That's really what I want.
Well, Danny, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Oh my God, it's so my pleasure. I'm not going to make any move to leave. I'm going to wait till
No,
it's
yeah,
over.
you still have one more episode, so you can't.
Oh, there's one more episode. I didn't even know that. Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
You're doing 2.
Oh, I didn't know that. That was a 2-parter. I'm so excited.
It's a 2 thing. Danny, how can everyone find you?
I'm on social media while it still exists. At Danny Zuker, Zuker, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I'm not on TikTok. I'll probably migrate over there. I may be on TikTok. I don't know.
You have to follow Danny. He is hilarious.
I'm unbelievable.
You are very funny.
I'm really good.
So please make sure you follow him. And thank you again for being
You're
on.
so welcome.
Guys, follow us. We're also on social media. We're at Candid Dating across the board.
I am at Aisha Says Dance across the board.
I'm at Natasha Chandel on Instagram, Facebook, Natasha.Chandel on TikTok. Thank you for downloading this episode, guys. If you like something you heard, screenshot the episode and tag us on social media. Finally, I know it seems tough out there, but just try. Till next time. I hope you guys enjoyed that video and check out our next one. Thank you so much for watching, and please subscribe to this channel for more amazing dating, love, and relationship advice from me and so many expert guests. Follow us on socials. We're at Kinda Dating across the board. I'm Natasha Chandel, so you can find me too if you like. And join our newsletter on www.kindadating.com for lots of exclusives. See you soon.